Hey guys, it's Britt and welcome back to my channel. First, I wanted to say a big thank you to anyone who reached out to us about my dad passing. It has been a really hard month and has been really busy. And if you followed my story for a long time, you'll know that both my mom and dad have now both passed. So not only grieving both parents, but also dealing with estate stuff and whatnot. So it's just been a really kind of crazy month and probably a few crazy months ahead of us. But I'm excited to be back on YouTube. I love making recipe videos for you guys and making new recipes. And so it's really been hard for me to be away for so long. And we also have a 5-month-old. So it's also been just a really, really wonderful and busy time in our life. So I really appreciate all of you guys hanging in there with me while I've been away. But I'm back now, and we're gonna make a really delicious recipe that you can make super fancy or an everyday meal. It's very easy and also can be really easy made for like your Thanksgiving table or a holiday coming up, or anytime you want to even have like a fancier presentation. And I'm going to get to that towards the end. But if you loved blue cheese, this recipe is for you. This is our take on a classic wedge salad, and you can use any greens for this. I'm going to tell you how to use lots of different items. You probably have most of the things in your refrigerator right now to pull from. So let's get started. So up first, we're gonna make the blue cheese dressing, and I love this because you can just throw it all in the blender. It is delicious, creamy, wonderful, simple. And so we're gonna use 1 cup of white beans, but you can also use cashews. So if you have raw cashews, you can soak those and drain the water and use that in place, especially if you're serving this to people that are not whole food plant-based. Sometimes a little bit of cashews in a dressing can make it a little bit creamier and more realistic to what the dressing might have been, obviously not whole food plant-based. So you can use cashews, and you also can use sunflower seeds. So some great options there. Today I'm going to use our white beans, and again that's 1 cup of that. We're just going to dump it into a high-speed blender. We have 1/2 cup of plant milk, but I've added a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and just let it kind of sit out while I pulled all the ingredients. And that's going to make a buttermilk replacement for this. So make sure you add that apple cider vinegar to it. And by the way, as always, you don't have to write anything down. Down below, there's a link to our website, and you can get the free printable PDF of this recipe. It also includes grams and photos of the recipe, and I also include a Microsoft document or a PDF file. So we have you covered either way. It's nice to see it. I'm a visual learner. I like to see when someone makes a recipe, but you don't have to take notes. You can head down below and grab it as well. I have a tablespoon of lemon juice. I have a tablespoon of white miso paste. We're gonna grab a tablespoon of onion powder and a tablespoon of garlic powder. And that is it. We're gonna blend that up, and that is our blue cheese dressing. Now, when you go to get blue cheese, generally they have big pieces of like curdles in them, and a way to replicate that, and even to add a little bit extra protein to your dressing if you want, is to add some crumbled up soy tofu pieces. And depending on how fine or large you want your chunks to be when you crumble it up will depend on like your blue cheese dressing. So I like to do a variety of small pieces and large pieces. Again, this is just 1/2 cup of tofu, extra firm, that I've just kind of broken up with my hands. Drain it, of course, first. You don't have to press it, but just go ahead and quickly like crumble it up, and that is going to be something we fold in at the end. If you don't want to use tofu, what you also can use is braised cauliflower as well, 1/2 cup still. And again, you just kind of fold that in raw at the end with the dressing, and that'll give you the resemblance of those bigger pieces from blue cheese that you probably are familiar with. And aesthetically, it looks very similar. And again, it adds a little bit of extra protein or an extra vegetable if you do it that way. It's optional. You don't, of course, have to go through that if you don't want to, but if you're serving it at your next gathering, it can be really fun, and this is the way we make our blue cheese now. So I'm gonna go blend this. I'm actually gonna take you guys to where we blend things because as I mentioned, we have a 5-month-old. And so our blender base now lives out in the garage. And so I blend everything out there. So his little ears, it's safe for how loud blenders can be. I am looking into getting like a case for the blender. You can get one of those like soundproof cases, depending if I keep this blender, if I upgrade it. But in the meantime, we just keep it out in the garage and it's worked out great. So we're gonna go ahead there to blend and then we'll make the next part of the recipe. Before we go out to the garage, I just wanted to mention that while I've been away from YouTube, over the last several years, we actually have a private community where these recipes come out years ahead of time to our members. And so if you're interested, it's a great way to help support what we do and also to get recipes that are hopefully plant-based, SOS free, that the whole family will love. And I base them off of seasonal months of what we make. So this month for November is all great holiday meals. And just to show you guys, we have some really great ones that I have here. Let me grab them just to kind of tell you guys. It also includes our cooking class, and we also have a few plant-based coaching calls as well every month. So it's really a great community. It's only $10 if you're interested, and we also keep up a few months at a time. So it's a really awesome spot to get 40+ recipes, support if you need it. Our next cooking class is November 23rd at 1 p.m. Eastern. They're always recorded if you miss it. But this month, just to kind of share with you guys what we did a cranberry cherry oat breakfast crisp, green bean mushroom casserole, classic Thanksgiving dressing for all my stuffing versus dressing people out there. We have a pierogi platter. We did baked sweet potato slices, a holiday winter salad, lentil loaf casserole with a mashed potato topping, stuffed manicotti, date nut rolls, and apple rose custard tart. So that was all for November. And coming up in December is our Whole Food Plant-Based Cookie Month, where we make tons of whole food plant-based cookies and have a wonderful dressed up holiday season class, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're interested in joining our community, there's tons of information on our site and down below. We'd love to have you. All right, let's go make that dressing. Lid, and then I like to just pour it into something I can store in the refrigerator, especially if I'm going to make this and I'm not serving it right away. So I just grab a mason jar. Note that if you do use cashews, the coloring will be a little bit more white, and if you use white beans, it has a little bit more of a cream color, but that's personal preference. And then again, what I do now is I'm just going to add in our little pieces that we've broken up of tofu to make the blue cheese kind of crumbles, or you could do the raised cauliflower. And I'm just gonna give that a stir. And once the tofu or the cauliflower are coated, it just really resembles like a classic blue cheese. Whenever you go to pour. And then this can stay in your refrigerator for about 5 days if you want to have. All right, so moving on to the next part of the salad. This part, if you want to do some bacon bits, is again another fun little addition just to kind of elevate your salad a little bit more. And I like to use soy curls for this. So in here I have some rehydrated soy curls. So soy curls are just dehydrated soybeans that they've just made into this great product. And what I do is I just take the pieces as is, soak them in water. Then after, what you can do is you can take them out and you can chop them up into bite-sized pieces. Or what you can do is you can always do this at the end. Whatever you like with what you have works. But to this, we're gonna flavor it slightly. So I have a teaspoon of white miso. I also have 3 tablespoons of water that I'm gonna mix up. and this is gonna help flavor the soy curls, and it's also gonna help the seasoning stick a little bit. So I just take it into a little container, and then with a fork or whatever you wanna use, you just wanna break up the miso, and it just takes a minute to kind of whisk it so all those big pieces are broken up. You're pretty much making miso water. And then we're gonna pour that over the rehydrated soy curls, and then we're gonna put the seasoning on, but it's really simple and easy. If you don't wanna use miso, you could always skip this step as well. And then for our seasonings, we have a teaspoon of smoked paprika and a teaspoon of garlic powder. So pour that on. We're gonna add our seasonings. And then again, you could chop it up now or after, whatever you'd like. Grab a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. And then I just like to, with clean hands, move that seasoning really around with that miso water. Make sure everything's well coated evenly. And then I'm gonna spread this out onto my parchment paper lined pan. And we're gonna bake it at 250 for around 10 to 15 minutes, just to kind of get it to not be quite as wet. I like to spread it out evenly. And I have some that I've already done. So again, put this in the oven. 250 is the correct temperature for about 10 to 15 minutes. You grab the rest of it. So with Kitchen Magic, I have this one that I've already done, and it's already come, it's cooled down. And like I said, you can cut it before or after. I'm just gonna do it after into little bite-sized pieces. And what's great about soy curls is it's very much like has a great amount of chew to it. So again, it's kind of like a little bacon bit for the top. And I like to do kind of a variety of small bites, but it's perfect. And I'm just gonna do a little bit to show you guys sprinkled on top. You can have yours all set up here, chopped up. And then the rest is just assembling. So again, super easy and simple recipe, but I feel like it can be a fancier one if you're having people over. So I like to grab a really pretty plate, and then you can do this with any lettuce. Typically this recipe has like iceberg lettuce. You can get some, these are like such beautiful little artisanal lettuces that we have here. So what I like to do if I'm gonna have this for people, and it's not just me at home eating this, I like to kind of set it up. These have been washed, and so it can be really pretty. You can put it on a platter even, drizzle over your blue cheese dressing, add your bacon bits on top, and it's just an elevated way of serving your guests, maybe a starter for your meal, and it's really fun. So just to kind of show you guys with this one. Again, those little pieces of tofu really look like blue cheese kernels or pieces. And it's so flavorful and good. You also could add a little bit of black pepper on top. I always like to have a little bit of black pepper to this. Is really, really fun. And I feel like this is very unexpected, especially if you're a whole food plant-based eater. That it's just a little way of having that blue cheese dressing and a little bit of that same texture and flavors from the smoked paprika that you'd have, and just makes a really beautiful salad to serve. And I love blue cheese, so I hope you guys will give this a try. Remember, down below you can get the free printable PDF. If you guys want more recipes like this and other ones, great for the holiday season coming up, consider joining our membership, which is also linked down below. All right, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy this delicious classic wedge salad with a beautiful blue cheese dressing that's completely whole food plant-based, SOS free. All right, bye guys.